Right. Okay, then here we go. We're going to get started, and we'll look at for anybody else that joins. Welcome. Welcome to the Make It Happen Mastermind. Right. So not just some one-way training. Want us to actually do the work in the room, and it's really easy to do a one-way training. People take notes and then not actually take any action on them. So what I really, really want for you today is to leave this room, and you're going to be the judge of this. You're going to leave the room with more honesty, more clarity, more passion, more energy, and just ready to make it happen. That's I like to keep things simple. That's the aim for today. And you've all come with, I hope, something that you want to work on. And in my world, how I look at this, it's kind of something you might want to change, something you might want to improve, something you might want to achieve, or something you might want to experience. When people want to work on things, it usually falls into those four categories, one of those four categories. And so that's kind of what you come in with. And the reason I wanted to do that is because at the beginning of the year, a lot of people come in with that intention, don't they, to, do that, to achieve something, experience something, change something, improve something at the beginning of the year. But very often they don't. We know that kind of New Year's resolutions, that's not really the way to go, because people give up on those. Well, 80% of people give up on those by the second Friday of January, and they haven't even got started. So this is really about, if you haven't started yet, or you had some clarity since the new year and go, oh, this is the thing. It's like, how do we get started and really follow it through? Or if you've been a little bit, you know what, I started, but the consistency has not been quite there. Cool, because consistency can be difficult. Got it. We got that. That's what we're heading for. But also then, if you've been making some progress on something, but then it kind of, the motivation fades over time, because what you're doing is kind of becomes a bit of a routine. And it's nice and exciting at the beginning, especially if you've got passion to actually get it done. But then over time, it then starts to become a bit of a chore, or the motivation phase. So how do you kind of push through when that happens? Because we want to keep momentum going. So that's what this is all about. That makes sense? Are we all here for that? Good. Yeah. And you can raise your hands, you can use the little icon things, interact however you feel free. So that's what this is all about. If we wanted to identify something to work on, that's an entirely different mastermind that I could do. That's fine. But this is where we're at today. So this said, the very fact that you're in the room means you are, and I've said this before, and this isn't supposed to be cliche or anything like that. I'm not trying to be smart, but you are some of the few that want to change something, improve something, achieve something, and experience something, and actually want to do something about it. Because many people out there, they want that, but they're not actually doing anything to make that happen. And if you've seen any of my pre-trainings, or you've seen me talk about the river of life, there's a lot of people that are going down the river of life, all 8 billion of us going down that river. But a lot of people are hoping, wishing, praying, dreaming that life could be better, or that they could experience something. But the reality of their day-to-day is that they're not moving towards it. And I know it's tough. I get that, because there's no judgment, because I spent a lot of my previous career in that state, 20 years in financial services. And man, for years and years, I hoped, wished, and dreamed that things would improve. They don't. And in reflection, it's like, really, it was in my court. I had some choices that I could have made. They would have been tough choices, but it was still on me. But I let it out to the universe to go, well, I just hope, wish, and pray that something out there is going to change. So be it the employer, or be it something in the company, or my manager, or the economy, or the government, or friends, it's just something, anything change that's going to help me improve my life. But it doesn't really work like that. And what I certainly found is that it doesn't stay the same. It doesn't get better. It usually over the long term gets worse. So my journey, and I'm not going to go into my journey, but it cost me my health, and nearly cost me everything. So the hoping, wishing, dreaming, praying situation really doesn't work unless you're taking some action to actually make it happen. And I know you know that, but it's worth repeating. But that's not you. You're somebody you've seen what you want to work on, and you want to actually take some action on it. So I acknowledge that. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, but this is just how I am, and this is who I am. But I can tell you now, I've been talking to so many people all around the world, and observed a lot of people around the world, that you're in the minority, not the majority. And so it's a privilege to serve you today. So I want you to know that. And that's from the heart. So with this said, let's talk about beliefs, because whatever it is that you want to work on, I'm going to do that, because otherwise I'm going to be saying improve, change, achieve, and experience. It's going to take us 3 hours to get through that if I have to say that every time. So whatever it is that you want to work on, would you agree that we've got to have some belief that it's actually going to be possible, right? Right? We've got to believe that it's possible. And for me, 3 principles. One of my mentors taught me these 3 principles years ago, and it was like, if you want to work on something, then you got to believe that it's out there. You got to believe, and this is worth writing down, right? The 3 principles. You got to believe that it's out there. You've got to believe that it's possible, and you've got to believe that it's worth it. Right? Got to believe it's out there. Got to believe that it's possible, and you've got to believe that it's worth it. Because if we took anything that we wanted to work on and you didn't believe that it was going to be worth it, I'm going to challenge you and say, why on earth are you spending your most precious resources of time and energy doing anything on it, right? If you don't think it's worth it. If you don't think it's possible, I mean, honestly, how likely are you going to take action on it, right? You're not, because you don't even think it's possible. But here's the thing about that possible one. Unless you are literally doing something that nobody in the history of the world has ever done before, there is a very good chance that somebody's already done what you're setting out to do, or at least a version of it, which means success leaves clues. Jim Rohn, very famous personal development trainer, he's actually Tony Robbins. He was Tony Robbins' mentor, and Tony became my mentor. But Jim, very wisdomous guy, he said success leaves clues. So if somebody's already done it, if somebody's already gone down the path, then they can help you get there quicker. So there's less trial and error, there's less frustration, there's less trying to figure it out by yourself. You're going to get to the destination quicker, right? Can we all kind of agree with that? If somebody's already done it, then why wouldn't we want to learn from them? Again, time is our most precious resource, so let's use it wisely, right? So if I can go faster, great. But I tell you what, I don't know at what point in our adult life we think we should have all the answers. Have you noticed that? Maybe yourself. I've certainly been through it, and I noticed it in other people, but they're kind of scared about asking for help. And I get it, because I was in a culture in financial services that, well, if you kind of asked for help, it sort of meant that you didn't know it. And it was sort of evidence that could be used against you in performance management. And then if you got marked down, you get no pay rise, you get no bonus, and you'd be the first one out in the next restructure, which was just around the corner. So I get it that when you're in that kind of environment, asking for help is maybe not the thing. But even outside of those environments, I think as an adult, sometimes people think they should know all the answers, but why would we know the answer to something we haven't done before? And when I kind of freed myself from this, because I was caught in that trap, I was like, this is great. I love asking for help. It's like, I got some crazy wild idea. I go, who's already done it? Who can I go and learn from? Who can help me? Because I have no clue. I know it's possible, but I don't know what the steps are. And me trying to figure this stuff out myself, oh my goodness, that could take me years, could take me decades. Or can we condense decades into a few hours, tell me how to do it, and then let's go, right? And essentially, that's sort of what we're doing today. Right? My 4 steps are from my own experience, going, whenever I've improved something, changed something, experienced something, or achieved something of note, what were the 4 commonalities that made that possible? And when it went wonky, what was missing? And it was like, it was these 4 things. It was honesty, it was clarity, it was passion, it was support. So the beliefs around, is it there? Is it possible? And is it going to be worth it, are something to really remember throughout this, because the 4 steps I'm going to go through, it feeds into that. It makes that possible. Okay. But if you've got, maybe not the thing that you're working on right now, but if you've got other things in your life, I just challenge you. If you're spending time and energy doing something with yourself or with somebody else or whatever it might be, and you haven't got those 3 things in place, or you could challenge those 3 things, I would challenge you to challenge it and just go a little bit deeper. because we've all got these little things that we spend time on, and then we go, was it worth it? Is it worth my time, my precious resource? Do I even believe it's possible? There are things that sometimes we come across, but we don't challenge them. We just carry on because it's routine and it's how we've been living. So the 3 pillars, that makes sense in terms of just setting up the belief system. Yeah, great stuff. And what I'm going to bring it to life with one quick story, and then we're going to get into honesty, right, which is our first step. To bring those 3 kind of belief pillars, if you like, to life, I'm going to use, I don't know if you've heard of a little known animator called Walt Disney, right? You might have heard of him, right? You might have heard of him. So Walt, back in the day, he'd had some success with the cartoons. He'd had some success with some films. And then he had this big idea to create a place that families could come and immerse themselves in the worlds that he had created on screen. And it was something different from the usual fun parks and fun fairs. And he just wanted to be totally immersive and something where the parents could get involved as well as the kids. It was like, that's Disneyland in California. That was the idea. So brilliant. And you can imagine how passionate he was about that. You can imagine the clear vision that he had for that, right? Stepping into the things that we're going to be talking about. But the one thing he didn't have was the money to do it. So yeah, success, but this was a big investment. So he didn't have the funds. So he had to go to the banks. And the funny thing is, just before he was going to have his first meeting on the Monday, on the Friday, somebody in his inner circle turned around and said, you know what? Bankers haven't got much imagination. Whoa, you're going to have to bring this to life for him. And he's like, well, thanks for telling me at that last hour, but I can't bring a great big model in. So what can I do? So he got one of his animators to hand draw a huge map of Disneyland. And I've been telling this story for years. And then my family and I had the privilege of going to the Disney 100 exhibition in London last year. And they literally had the map on the wall. And I'm like beside myself because it's the detail in this. And he just whipped it up. This animator whipped it up in a weekend, as you do, because that's how they roll. So off Walt goes with his massive map, with his vision and his passion. I mean, it's going to be a done deal, right? Disney's like flying. Goes to the first bank, nope, declined him. Goes to the second bank, declined him. Third bank, declined him. Fifth bank, declined him. 10th bank, declined him. So at this point, let's just reflect. How often do people give up before the 10th attempt, right? They might give it something a go 2 or 3 times and then, oh, it's not really working. I was in a business meeting with a team, and one of the chaps said, oh yeah, it's like when you do 3 webinars and yeah, it's just not working, so we don't do it anymore. 3 attempts, but what have you learned? What can you do differently? But Walt, right, he's like, no, I'm gonna keep going. 10 banks, 20 banks, 40 banks, 50 banks, 100 banks declined him. What have you got to believe to carry on for 100 banks? You've got to believe that it's out there. You've got to believe that it's possible. And he knew it was possible if only somebody was to give him the money. He knew he could make it work, and he knew it was going to be worth it because it was just going to change lives and just be something that nobody's ever seen before. 150 banks, 200 banks, 250 banks, 300 banks turned Walt Disney down. What have you got to believe? What depth of passion and clarity have you got to have to keep going for 300 banks? Now, Walt was prepared to do 1,000 banks because he believed in it so much. But he didn't have to, because on the 301st bank, they lent him the money. And the rest is history. I mean, what a story, right? I mean, round of applause for Walt Disney. 301 banks. And that bank then went on to fund a whole load of Disney projects for the coming decades, right? But how many people have got the tenacity, the hunger to make it happen no matter what? And it's not, sometimes we restrict ourselves, don't we, by either how many attempts we're prepared to make, or we say time. And sometimes, oh, it takes 90 days to build a habit. Well, I debate that because I built them in much shorter time if you put the work in. But then people give them 90 days, and then because they haven't built the habit or they haven't achieved the thing in 90 days, they go, oh, well, it didn't work. Like, but what have we got to believe to just keep going no matter what? Like I said, it's got to be worth it, right? I'm just going to let Matt into the room. Thanks, Sevda. Love this story. Must be an Aquarius thing. It is. We are kindred spirits. Hey there, Matt. Welcome. We've just got started, so we're just setting the scene with beliefs. So come on in. Don't be shy. So Walt Disney there, 300 banks. So I share this because I want to demonstrate the depth of passion sometimes we've got to have, the depth of clarity that we've got to have in order to make things happen. Because when we don't, we're going to, like the first sign of trouble, the first sign of rejection, or the first time it gets a bit uncomfortable, the first time life hits us sideways, then we don't do it. And I don't think that's us, right? We don't want that. So that's why I wanted to share that. So the 3 beliefs, and that's just catching up. So that's fine in terms of it's out there, it's possible, and it's going to be worth it. And Walt gives us that kind of Walt Disney philosophy of just carry on. And, 301 banks, rest is history. But I had to go through 300 banks rejecting him first, and how much time that took. But he didn't. What I would say is, because some people pick me up on this, goes, oh, well, I would have given up because it's the definition of insanity, Martin. Einstein said definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's what we talk about people when they're just hoping, wishing, and praying that things are going to get better, but not taking action. But with every meeting, Walt would have learned something. There would have been an angle, there would have been something, and he would have been refining and refining and refining. By the time he got to the 301st bank, that his pitch was spot on, and it met what they needed in that bank. So it's not about just doing the same thing. Like I said, that example, we did 3 webinars and it didn't work. It's like, but what are you refining? Right? We got to learn whilst we're going along the route to get to where we want to get to as well. Make sense? We good with that? Cool. Right. So with that said, let's do some work, shall we? Let's get into some honesty, because the first step that backs up what I've just been saying is honesty. And people can misunderstand this one. And so just get honest about your situation. What I want you to do is I want you to be looking at the emotions you've got right now to do with the thing that you want to work on. So that thing you work on, you haven't got it yet. You haven't achieved it yet. You have not experienced it yet. What are the emotions that are attached to you not having it? Now, this is different for everybody, and it depends on whether it's a big thing, a small thing, depending on where you're at the moment. So let me just give some examples, and you can write down whatever comes to mind whilst I'm talking, and this gets good use of our time, right? Sevda, scientifically 66 days to build a habit. Yeah, I did it in 24. I'm just saying, it's just how your mindset works. But you're right. I've heard 66, I've heard 90, I've heard 30. But really, the proof is in how long does it take you? Not some random thing, because when we get hooked on something like that, if it doesn't happen before then, we kind of beat ourselves up and think we're doing something wrong, or we don't carry forward. So I say just take the action and learn the experience for yourself, right? Good stuff. So honesty. I look at honesty as the first, if you're setting up your GPS or your sat nav in your car or Google Maps, right? You're going on a journey. Honesty is about where we start. And this is really important because some people, when it comes to how they feel about their current situation, some people, because maybe they're just a bit embarrassed or a bit ashamed, they'll kind of pretend that they're 10 miles down the road. And for some people, because of the depth of feeling that they've got about their current situation, it feels worse than it is. So it feels like they're 10 miles back from where they are. But when you strip away the emotions, and I would never take emotions away from anybody, it is their reality. And I've been there when it feels really, really tough. But when we kind of strip away a little bit, the facts of the matter is they're actually a little bit further forward than they give themselves credit. Because let's be honest, we're our worst own enemies and we're our worst critics. And so what we're looking at is, don't be 10 miles down the road, don't be 10 miles back. Let's just be honest about where we're at right now. Because the roadmap, if you think of it like that, the roadmap from 10 miles back to where you actually are is going to be different. The steps you're going to take is going to be different from where you are now to where you want to go 10 miles down the road. And if you're pretending you're 10 miles down the road, the steps are different. The route is different from 10 miles of the road to the next 10 miles than what you really need to take. And so I just want to bring that to life to go, we have to be honest about where we are. And we've got to be honest with ourselves. If we can't be honest with ourselves, we can't be honest with the people. But it's about the emotions we've got. And it depends. So very often, if somebody wants to improve something or change something, sometimes there's a little bit of real frustration there. There can be some real emotions there about, maybe it's causing them stress, maybe it's causing them overwhelm, maybe they feel like a failure, or they feel like they're not good enough. It's having an effect on their family and them, and those are the sort of emotions that we're looking for if that's present. And I don't want people to dwell on them. I don't want people to just go there and stay there, but we do need to tap into them, because that's the fire that gets us started. We need at the start, we need a little bit of, need to light a spark to pull us away from where we are. Now, for some people who actually life's okay. I just want to do this new thing in this experience, and that's okay. I want to change and improve this thing. That's okay. But not doing that, how does that leave you feeling? So for some people like that, when I coach people like this, it's a case of, it's more about, yeah, but if I don't give this a go, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret it now. And oh my goodness, I'm going to regret it in the future. When I'm on my deathbed, I want to know that I really gave it a go. I had this great idea, or I wanted this experience. I wanted to achieve this thing, or change this thing, or improve this thing. You know what? I didn't, because I let doubt get in the way. And I listened to all the naysayers out there, and I just felt like, oh, is it me? And now I realize it was all on me. I could have done it. I could have gone for it, and maybe it wouldn't have worked out, but at least I would have known. And so for some people, it's tapping into that right now to help us get the fires burning. So even if things are great, it's like, well, not achieving this thing, not experiencing this thing in the future, how do you feel about that if you didn't do it? What's the consequences of it? What are you missing out on? What's your family missing out on? What's your friends missing out on? What's your business missing out on? Your clients missing out on? Whatever it might be. So I just want you to just write down some of those emotions about the current situation. That thing you want to work on, you haven't got it right now. So how does it make you feel? I don't want you being hard on yourself. I just want you to just be real and go, look, this is how it feels. And if it does feel frustrating, good. It's okay, because we're going to work on it, right? I'm not going to let you stay here, because the next one is clarity, and we're going to get very, very excited about where you're headed, right? So I'm not going to keep you in that state, but I want you to be honest and true about how it makes you feel. Because you might also have heard, and keep writing, I love it, you're writing down while I'm talking. You might have heard that some people are kind of driven by pain, and some people are driven by pleasure. Well, so some people are basically, I want to get away from this current situation. I want to move out of this. I want to improve it because I don't really like where I am. So we can understand that. So that's kind of the pain principle, right? So I want to move away from that. Cool. So some people are motivated by that, and some people are more motivated by, right, the shiny experience. Oh my goodness, I can't wait for that. So they're attracted to that. In my opinion, in my experience, because often people say it's one or the other. If you want to make things work, you've got to have a bit of both. You've got to have a bit of motivation to get out of the current situation. You've got to have something that draws you to it as well. Because when you do that, you're being pushed from your current situation. Great. And you're being pulled towards the vision too. It's like you've got a double whammy there. And that's what then helps you make the most of it. That's what sees it through, right? So we're going to work on this, but the honesty part is really that let's just light the fire a little bit. And it might be a little bit uncomfortable, or it might not be over dramatic, and it's okay. But what are some of those feelings that just go, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. No matter what, I gotta do this. Right? So we're just lighting that fire. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. We've got something there. All got something. Right, cool. That's honesty. That's the first step. But when we look at this and people want to improve things, for example, but they're not honest about where they're at, right? They might feel things, but they haven't really said, well, I'm honest about this and I can use this as fuel. A lot of people use these emotions that we've just been looking at, they use them to hold themselves back. Right. And again, I say it with love because I've been there. Right. It's why I'm so passionate about helping people not travel some of the paths that I did. But you know what? Some of these emotions, whilst we might feel like they don't serve us, I think they do. I think we can use them as the fuel that goes, well, screw this, enough is enough. Right now, I'm off. And even if life is good, it's like, right, life is good, but you know what? I want to experience more of life. And I know Jill is really, really keen on gratitude, right? So I know we've had conversations in the past about balance, right? So I will just say this because we've done the honest exercise. There is always balance, and I'm all for gratitude. So us wanting to change something, improve something, experience something, achieve something does not take away our gratitude for what we do have right now. Can we kind of all agree with that? And at the base level, if you've got air in your lungs and blood in your veins, be grateful for that because it means you're alive and it means you can make choices, you can make decisions, you can take action, you can change things, right? As soon as you don't have that, then it's a different conversation, right? So at the very base level, that's the gratitude. But I guarantee all of us have got a wealth of things that we can be grateful for. So I like to have balance. I'm acknowledging the balance, but what we need for the fire, because what some people go, oh, I'm so grateful for all this stuff. So I just feel a bit awkward if I want more or I want to experience more. Some people, right? Some people. And it's like, no. Be grateful. That's wonderful. But the fact that you want more or change or improvement, this is great. This is the human experience. You just want more of life, right? You want to experience more of life. It's there to be experienced. You've only got a short period of time on this earth. So let's experience it. Let's have more of that. Let's not be ashamed of that. But so many people actually fall into that trap of feeling ashamed to go, well, actually, life's kind of good. And I feel a bit awkward about that. Anyone ever come across somebody like that? Or maybe even thought about it themselves, right? Yeah. So I don't want you to fall into that trap. That's not what this is about. But what we needed to do is just fan the flames. The flames aren't fanned. Say that quick 6 times. The fans aren't flamed by things are good, things are okay. I'm so grateful for what's going on. We just need a little bit of, bit of fire. And one of my mentors, I mean, he takes it, he's a bit extreme, but he says, you've got to be disturbed. You got to kind of have a little bit of disturbance in the force for you to want to go and do the thing. And then that's good because you can use that as the fuel. So there is honesty. Are we good with honesty? We got something that made sense? Have we got a little bit more than we had when we came into the room? Yeah. Right. Honesty. Let's have a drink. Just take a moment. Just shake it off a little bit because we just talked about some like more of the emotions that maybe we don't want to talk about, right? So I mean, just shake it off. Stand up, give it a shake, whatever you need to do. I just change the state a little bit. It's like we don't want to stay in that state, and we're going to get really excited now because we're on to clarity. So we got that. We're doing the work. We're happy that we're doing the work. Again, the difference between this and me telling people sharing in my newsletter for over 1,000 people, here are the steps. But they don't do the work. So this is why I wanted to spend the time today. It's why I called it a mastermind, because I wanted to go through them, but also guide you through it. And then you actually do the work in the room, because then we've got the honesty. I'm not relying on saying, here's the steps, have a think about it afterwards, because you're going to get busy. You've got stuff to do today, right? And you're not likely to come back to it. So I hope this is kind of showing you what that's all about. Got some comments. I'm just going to have a little break there. Okay, creative expression. Yes, Ever, thank you. You were surprised how many positive emotions came up for honesty. Hey, Holly, nice, right? Good, right? And maybe I did a disservice there. It's not all about, like I say, it's not all about the negative side of things. It's good to have that little spark to go, actually, if I don't, I might regret it. If I don't, I might be frustrated. If I don't, I might miss out. Or if I don't, my family's going to miss out. It's kind of tapping into some of that, especially when things are okay, right? I mean, a lot of the work I've done with people, their life is feeling pretty, tough, and they want to move out of that. But the beautiful space is to get them to the place where actually life is good, and then it's like, what next? Who have I got to step into for the next bit, right? That's when it really gets exciting. So yeah, use the positive emotion as well. And we're going to come on to more of those, because a lot of this is emotion. I make no I make no apology for that, because you've got to feel something if you're going to do something, right? If you don't care about it deeply enough, then you're not going to do it, or you're just going to give up, right? Or life gets difficult, life gets busy, you're not going to do it, right? So I don't want that for you. So the second thing is clarity. Clarity. Have some fun now. Clarity. And again, there's a misunderstanding about this one. I love clarity, but it's not the clarity that you think. And I know that Jill and Severin might have heard me talk about this before, or Holly, you might have heard me talk about this before. But this is really important, because people think it's clarity about the thing, right? And I encourage you all to come with the thing today to work on, right? But they think it's clarity about that. So for example, it's, I want to be fitter. Cool. Or I want $1 million in the business, or I want a 6-figure salary, or I want a more intimate relationship with my partner. I want more balance between my work and my family. These are all wonderful things, and they are the starting point for clarity, because we do actually need to know where we're going. Again, it's no good running away from pain, right? In the honesty bit, it's no good going, oh, I've got a fire under my butt and I'm off, if we don't know where we're going, right? Otherwise, you're just running away with no destination. We don't want that. So we've got to get clear on where we're going. So this is kind of that next bit in your sat nav, right? Where am I going? But it's not about the thing. It's not about the thing. It's about the experience. It's about the outcome that's going to be possible because of you achieving the thing. And again, the thing being the change, the improvement, the achievement, the experience. What's that experience going to be like? Because I want to get fit, never motivated anybody in the history of the world to get fit. It's just a fact, right? So I want you to think about the experience. What are the emotions? What's possible when this thing that you want to work on, when you've done that, when you've reached that, and some people, you've got to know when you're going to reach it. When you reach that, what does life look like? How do you feel about that? How much more confident are you? Or how much more belief do you have? Or how much more capable are you? Or what's the experience for you, your family, your friends, your business, your clients? What more good in the world could you do? Looking back, how proud can you be of the work that you put in, and that you didn't give up, and that you've got the momentum and you carried on regardless, right? You had the Walt Disney philosophy, right? The 300 banks. What's the experience at the end of it? And whilst you're writing, so keep writing, I'll bring this to life. And there's an example that comes from conversations that I've had that was around fitness. I'll use a couple of examples, but there was a fitness one, and it was like, I want to get fit. And it was like, yeah, okay, that's the starting point. But here's what happened. We dove deeper into, well, what's the clarity of the experience? What are you really looking for? And it was actually, the guy was a dad and wanted to get fitter because he wanted to run around the garden with his kids, his young kids, and be able to swing them around and throw them up in the air and keep up with them, right? He wanted to be able to do that without pulling a hamstring or being out of breath after 3 minutes. He wanted to immerse himself in that. He wanted that kind of fitness, but it didn't stop there. He said, but I want to build the kind of fitness that as they grow older, that when they get into more things and sports, and they're playing football and basketball and hockey, that I can do that with them, not worrying about my health. I want that experience, and I want to be with them. And don't want to have to kick a ball for 2 minutes and then go, oh, I've got to sit this one out, guys, because that is done. He wants that kind of fit. And he said, but he wanted an active lifestyle. He wanted to take them hiking when they're older and up the mountains and up the hills and kayaking. And he wanted to take them climbing. And he wanted this sort of active lifestyle. And he said, I don't want to not be able to do these things, like to not even consider it because I know I'm not fit enough, or to try it and then have to pull out straight away. He said, I just want this beautiful experience with my children. And it didn't stop there, because he then said, and that, what I want to be able to do is when they're older and they have children of their own, and we've got grandchildren, which is so far in the distance, I want the kind of fitness where I can do all of those things with my grandchildren too. I want to be able to play. I want to be the granddad that is the active one, that can be with them and can take them on little camping trips and go on adventures. I'm that granddad. And it's like that versus I want to get fit. See the difference? Is one going to be more motivating than the other? It is, right? There's a whole experience there. There is a connection. There is a love. There's a spirit of an adventure. There's experiences. Like, it's incredible. So I want you to really tap into what does that look like? And again, I don't know what you're working on, and it's going to be different for different people. But get excited about that bit, the experience of the vision. I have one more example. I've got a friend of mine that wanted to make £1 million, £1 million, sorry. And which is fair enough. A lot of people might want to make £1 million, and fair play to her. She made it. She made it, $1 million, fair play. And she literally saw her bank account tick over, and it was like, wow, yeah. But it was the emptiest feeling that she'd ever had. She worked so hard and reached the goal of £1 million, £1 million, sorry. And it was empty. There was no red carpet or marching bands or fireworks or parade. Nothing changed. And she learned a really valuable lesson, because she made it all about the thing. She made it about the number. And it doesn't matter what the number is for other people. It might be 6 figures, for example. It doesn't matter. The power is in what's the experience going to be when you get there? What's it going to enable? Because money doesn't make you happy. Money is an enabler, right? Money is a resource that we can use to experience life and experience things that we couldn't dream of, and we can do more good with it. So if we had looked at it and gone, right, okay, what's the time freedom that's going to be? What are we going to be? What adventures are we going to go on? Where do we want to visit? What kind of lifestyle do we want? Where are we going to be eating, and what restaurants, and what good could we do? What adventures could we take our friends and our family on and get them to experience life at a different level? And how could we contribute to causes and charities that really mean a lot to us? Being able to literally just write a big check and go, hey, go help some more people. It's like, that's the experience of would there have been an empty feeling if my friend had done the work on that? There wouldn't have been. And I'll tell you what, the beautiful thing about money is you can make all those things happen much quicker than you think you can. You don't need $1 million for that. In fact, way before $1 million or £1 million are you going to be able to do all those things. And the money just means maybe they're just a little bit big or whatever, but you start living exactly the lifestyle that you've envisaged. And I tell you, when that comes true quicker than you ever thought possible, wow, what a feeling that is. But we got to tap into that first and foremost. If we have no idea, if we just make it about, well, it's going to be a 6-figure business, or I'm going to have £1 million in my bank account, it doesn't mean anything. And so this is the importance of clarity. Not clarity about the thing. First and foremost, you've got to know where you're heading, but what's the experience? Does that make sense? Yeah? And you've got some good stuff there written down? Because what we're now doing is going, that vision is so compelling, right? You should be excited about the vision. If you're not excited about the vision, then you might need to do a bit more work, right? We need to be excited about where we're going. We need to step into that, because our minds are beautifully powerful things. It doesn't really know the difference between reality and fiction. when we start really visualizing it, and I'm not going to go all woo woo and do manifestation with you right now, right? I could, but if we can get crystal clear on the experience and we can feel the emotions, our brains feel it's real, and our brains are going to be wanting to make it happen, and it's going to look at, we talked today, the RAS, reticular activated system, right, in our brain, the part of the brain that literally, when you buy a new car and you go, oh, it's Arctic blue, and you've never seen one on the road before, and you drive it at the showroom and you see 5 of them on the road in the first 3 minutes. It's like, what the heck? It's because you weren't looking out for them, but now it's important to you. Your brain goes, this is important. Oh, but we can use this to our advantage. Most people use it to their disadvantage because they focus on the stuff that's not going well. They focus on the stuff that's all the nonsense, all the drama out there. And guess what? They get sucked into that. And how does that make us feel? We can focus on the vision, focus on something that's exciting, that's inspirational, that's an experience that we can almost feel before we've even got there. And I tell you what, our brains go, oh, right. It starts noticing the sorts of things that could help you get there. It notices conversations that are happening. You go, oh, might be a good person to speak to. Or noticing steps that other people have taken. But without you really getting crystal clear on it, it doesn't. It just wanders off and does its own thing. So crystal clear clarity is really important to bring all of that to bear. I've got some comments. Let me just have a little look. Trust the heart brain. The heart brain. Oh, I like that, Jill. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way. The brain is very, very logical, right? But we've got to turn it into emotions. We've got to turn it into experience. And what we're going to do next, we're going to kind of go from our thinking to our hearts. So that's clarity. It's really as simple as that. I like to simplify things in this very complicated world that we have created. People think that we need complicated solutions, but we don't need to over-engineer things. We just need to go, how honest am I about the current situation? How clear am I about what it is, where I'm going? And then we can figure out the rest, right? So if we all got some good clarity, got something we were excited about. I know for you, Holly, I know you're looking at the next chapter, right? You're looking at the next like 10 years. It's like really exciting. So this is clarity. I don't want to overcomplicate it. So you've already got it. So we've done it. A tick. Awesome. The third step is passion. Right? It is about finding your passionate why. And you might say, Martin, there's been a lot of emotion already. Honesty was all about emotion. Clarity was about emotion. So come on, man, I'm passionate about making this happen. There's no doubt about this, Martin. Why have we got a separate step that says passion? The passion is about the deep, meaningful why you want to do it in the first place. It is different to your current situation. It is different to the outcome that you're looking for. It is why you want to do this. And I will bring this, I'm going to use, oh, I know you're so good because you're just writing. This is great. I'm going to use a framework. So that's right. We're going to use a framework within a framework. So one of my favorite frameworks is called 7 Levels Deep. And it was introduced to me by one of my mentors, Dean Graziosi. And it really helps you get to the core why, right? And it is that, what I've just said, getting out of here from logical answers into here where you feel it. And so it is very simple. I love to keep things simple because if we don't, we ain't going to do anything with it. All you've got to ask yourself is why 7 times. So this thing, we're going to start off, this thing that you want to work on, why is it important to you? Why is it important to you? And you're going to write that down. And then after you've written that down, you're going to go, why is that important? And then you're going to write another answer. And Septa uses this all the time. Excellent. Well done, Septa. And when you've got that answer, guess what you're going to do? You're going to ask, why is that important? And you're going to find that to begin with, you have really logical answers. I mean, off the top of the, you have to think hard about this to begin with. It's like, yeah, this is why I want to do it. And then, oh, yeah, this is why it's important. It's very logical. But as you move down, you're going to start getting into the more emotional stuff. And I want to bring this to life with that example that I gave earlier. So the fitness example, okay? This exercise was done with that person. And at the beginning, it was, well, I want to get fit and have this experience because, well, quite frankly, at the moment, I can't. I run around, I last 2 minutes, I'm out of breath, and I got to take myself off. And I'm like, oh, man, I've got the fitness to run around with my kids, my own kids, for goodness sake. Right. So that's the first level. And it's like, well, okay, well, why is it important that that's not, you want to change that? Well, because I just don't, I'm better than that. I want to be involved in their lives. I want to be actively involved. I don't feel like I'm being the dad that I want to be. It's like, okay, that's cool. I mean, we've gone from I want to get fitter to I don't feel like I'm the dad that I need to be. Right. And it's like, well, okay, well, why is that important? Well, it's I want to be involved in their life. I want to have a connection with them, but me being on the sidelines, there's not that connection. I then start just feeling guilty about myself rather than being in the moment. And I'd start feeling about the I start whenever I'm doing anything, I'm more worried about how I'm feeling and my fitness than taking notice of how their faces are lighting up and the excitement that they've got. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool. So to cut a long story short, he kept going. By the time he got to 6 and 7, it was, well, actually, I don't want the same childhood and relationship with my dad that I had. Because my dad, he worked very hard, but he also abused his health. And he didn't get involved when we were doing football. He didn't get involved. And all I wanted was, and I wouldn't have mattered, to be honest. I'd have given 3 minutes to play football with my dad, but he was never there. And when he was there, he was exhausted and he'd fall asleep in the chair, and he would rather be on the couch or he'd be sat outside watching us, but he'd fall asleep and he'd just keep abusing his health. And we didn't have that connection. We then didn't do things. He wasn't there at certain events and sporting stuff that we were there for. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that relationship, my children to have that relationship with me. I want to be that active dad. I want to be involved because I know how much it meant to me. And I know how much it's going to mean to my children. And his dad actually passed away before his time because he hadn't taken care of his health. All of this came out at the bottom of 7 levels deep, which also was that motivator to go, it's not just about now, it's about when they grow up and the grandchildren, because his dad never got to see their grandchildren. I got goosebumps, right? I've nearly had tears talking about it. This is not even my story. If you have got that level of passion for something, are you more likely to go make it happen or not? And I hope you can see that is different from the honesty emotion and the clarity emotion. This is, why does this mean so much to you? You got to figure that out for you. And you got to have a bigger purpose, because this is the thing. You've got a starting point. Great, right? We've got a destination. Great. By the way, destinations, they change over time. The closer you get to a destination, you realize, oh my goodness, there's other things and opportunities, experiences, right? This is never-ending beauty of life. But for this moment, for the thing that you're working on, we've got a starting point, we've got a destination, brilliant. We've got all that emotion and clarity, but we got a journey to take. There are steps that need to be taken. And you know what? I don't know how many times you're going to have to show up and do stuff. I don't know how long it's going to take you. Walt Disney didn't know. He didn't know it was going to be 300 banks. And the time it took for that, he didn't know, but he had a deep passion, right? He must have had a deep, passionate why to keep going, because you'd have given up way before. But we gotta keep going when it's stormy weather, when life hits us sideways, when there are distractions, when there are interruptions, when there's shiny objects, when stuff's not quite going so well, when we don't feel like it. We just keep moving forward. And it's not about leaps and bounds. It's very often just inching forward, inch by inch by inch. Because if you inch forward for a year, you're in a different place. And all you've done is just kept being consistent. But the way you keep consistent is by having a deep, passionate why. If you haven't got that, you're going to give up. You're going to let life knock you and get you off track. And I see it so often that there's massive intention and it's wonderful, but then they fall off track and they never get back on track. And they were doing so well. It's why the fourth step in the moment is so, so important. But we got to have a deep, passionate why. And I love doing this with my one-to-one clients. Because when we doubt ourselves, because we will at times, when things feel a bit tough, when we get a bit distracted, because we will, to be able to be pulled back to, can you remember why? Do you remember why this was really, really important to you? Can we tap back? Can we just take a moment to tap back into that? There's a lot of noise and distraction, granted. Let's just tap back in that, center ourselves and get focused again, right? And remember, we're not trying to do leaps and bounds. What's the next deliberate action we can take that can take you closer? Right, cool, I can do that. Can you do that? Yeah, I can do that. Cool. Just remember the deep, meaningful why. And this is kind of, I've got a client that had literally a bedroom dream of being a singer and a performer and an actress, right? And she's in a different country and everything was against her, right? Family not supported, community, culturally, this is not on the cards. And she was at rock bottom when we started and really need to borrow my confidence and belief in her while she built her own, right? This is the river of life. You know, we can do that. Bigger boat we've got, we can help other people. And we worked on that. And just nobody, I've never come across it where nobody has supported her, like somebody. Like I'm used to families supporting people. I know, you know, there are other different ways of doing things and people react in different ways. Really tough. But you know what? We kept going. But the deep, passionate why was, I will regret this. If I don't give this my all, if I don't just show up and do it, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to do it, I'm going to regret it. I can't live with myself. I've tried other things and corporate jobs. I've got to be a performer. I've got to give it my all. And they did. And it was about a deep, she also wanted to be a role model for other women, other young girls, where they were being kind of suppressed and culturally suppressed. And it's like, no, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. There was like this really deep, meaningful thing. And the amount of times I've had to bring her back to that because life got tough, you know, and the naysayers were still going at, and it's like, no, remember this, remember this. Well, she's now starred in a Netflix movie and she's just released her first 4 tracks off her brand new debut album. And she's getting calls from MTV and VH1, right? In your face, naysayers, right? But without the support, without the belief, without doing the work on why this is really, really important, she'd have given up so long ago. But this is what can keep us going, right? And I love success stories like that. And that's what I want for you. I want you, whatever it is you're working on, I want it for you. I want it for you. But you've got to want it more than almost I want it for you, right? Because you're the one doing the work, not me. So have we, honesty, clarity, passion, are we good? Have we got something? Have we got more honesty, clarity, and passion than when you walked in the room? I'm sense checking, right? Yeah. And does it make sense as a simple process? And can you see what maybe has been missing? Right. Sarah saying she knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, she is amazing. You're right. Yeah. And I will be singing her praises very shortly. So publicly. So yeah, these are the first 3 steps. All right. And here we go. We're an hour in. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Let's take a sip. Take a moment. You're doing the work. I'm doing the talking. Together, we'll make a good team. I love passionate people doing the work, right? You're more likely to get the results. And there's nothing that lights me up to see you succeed in whatever it is you want to succeed in, you know, be it small things, medium things, big things, doesn't matter. You know, people that actually move forward and make things happen, which is my mantra, my philosophy this year, you know, they're amazing. You're amazing. So thank you for doing the work. Thank you for showing up. Step 4, step 4, support. Get support. I know none of this is rocket science, but if you don't do it, you don't get the results. So support, what do we mean by support? We've already kind of preempted this one. Success leaves clues. The best support you can get when we get over any barriers to go, I don't like to ask, right? Let's put that aside to go, look, the only way I'm going to learn is by asking. And time is my most precious resource. So let me go find somebody who's already done the thing that I'm looking to do, right? And it's usually either they've done it or there's somebody that can keep you on track whilst you know the journey is going, right? Somebody with the mindset tools that can help you remind you of that why and keep you on track. So important. Have somebody that can help you. That is, it is as simple as that. So I want you to write down who could help you with this thing that you want to work on. Who is somebody that could support you with that? Now, like I said, they've either done it already, ideally, because you can learn from them. They're going to be able to give you the steps. They're going to be able to give you the sat nav. You've got a starting point and a destination, but the route in between, well, because here's the thing, if you don't have support, is it going to take you longer or shorter amount of time to do it than if you had support? It's going to take you longer, right? Because you have to figure it all out yourself. If you try and figure it out yourself, is there going to be more trial and error than if you got somebody to support you? There's going to be more trial and error, right? You're going to figure things out. You're going to get stuff off the internet and you're going to try this and you're going to try that. And time's going by and then this doesn't work. You get frustrated. Is there going to be more frustration, pain and suffering if you don't get support? Highly likely. And depending on what it is, it might be a little bit of frustration. You might get a bit exhausted with it. Or you know what? There might literally be pain and suffering. There might be a lot of stress and a lot of overwhelm, depending on what it is you're working on. So what you're looking for is somebody that can take that away, that can help you with that. Now, I'm not saying that it's still going to be all sunshine and rainbows. I'm not saying that there won't be times when life knocks you or there's still going to be a bit of trial and error. I'm not saying that. But my goodness, if you've got somebody who's already traveled the bit of the river that you're going down right now and you want to go, they've already traveled it. They know which path to take. They know which rocks to avoid. They know how to go through the rapids. When the tough times come, they go, do it like this. Here's the mindset to have. Here's what to keep focused on whilst we're going through the turbulent times, because it's going to be turbulent, but they're there to help you. They give you the breadcrumbs. It's the difference between going through a maze and just trying to figure it out and you go through lots of dead ends versus somebody who's literally put the trail down for you to get at the other end. And so somebody who can help you and support you is so important. I know I've said that, but it's almost the secret weapon for all the other stuff. Like if you nail everything else, you have exponentially increased your chances of success, whatever it is for you, exponentially, and more so than most people on the planet. Because most people who set out to do something, they certainly don't do the depth that we've gone into. But the real secret then is, right, there's still a bit of a path. We don't probably know how long that's going to be. Get somebody to help you so you can do it quicker with less trial and error, less pain and suffering, less frustration. And if you've got somebody with you by your side, do you think you're less likely to give up too? Yeah, you're going to be less likely to give up. And I don't want you to give up. People give up for all kinds of reasons. But very often it's like they might have just needed a pause, not a give up. They just needed a pause. They needed to take a breath. A bit like me, right? I need to take a breath because I talk at 100 miles an hour. But maybe that's all they needed. So who is it that can help you and support you? And I tell you, we got time, right? What I would say is there is support that you can like tap into out there, So, but they may not be accessible as people. So, so for example, you can learn from Tony Robbins, right? Number one life and business strategist on the planet, right? Bar none, right? And some people like him, some people don't. Doesn't matter, right? But a wealth of knowledge. But if you want to have one-to-ones with Tony, it's $1 million for 3 one-to-ones in a year, and he's got a 5-year waiting list. So the chances of you doing that are remote, but there are opportunities. So you might do events, you might have courses and trainings and ebooks and all that kind of stuff, so you could learn the information. So there's that kind of access to support. The best support, I've got that, I do that. The best support for keeping you going is the grounded support where you can actually have a conversation on a regular basis. And I don't know whether that's monthly or whether that's twice a month or whether it's weekly, someone you can actually talk to about it and get out of your head. And it's something that I role model, right? I have a with my business coach, who's more than business coach, right? Business and life. Every 2 weeks, a deeper session into, right, okay, what's going on? How are we doing this? And what's happening? And where's my head at? But I also have an accountability coach every week. Shorter call, but to keep me on track, because sometimes I'm a bit like that. And sometimes I get in my head. I know this stuff, but I still get in my head. So I have somebody that I can just go, right, sounding board, here's where I'm at. They can just give me a little bit of guidance. And it's like, oh, off and running again. Great. So it works a treat. It works for me. I've seen it work for other people. Obviously, this is also what I do. But I want you to find that person for you, right? And here's what I was going to say. We've got some time. If you're up for a challenge, why don't you reach out to them now? Why don't you send them a message? Why don't you send them a Facebook Messenger message or a WhatsApp message or a text message or an email or a LinkedIn message, wherever they may reside? And hey, they might be in the chat. If it is, stick it in the chat. And you know what? I don't want you to overcomplicate this, because if you're up for the challenge, all I'd say is, hi, Bob. It might not be Bob for you, right? But hi, Bob. I'm working on this, X, the thing, right? I'm working on this. I think I could learn a lot from you. Would you be open to a conversation? Thanks. I told you I like to keep things simple. A lot of people don't like to reach out like that because, quite frankly, they don't know what to say. And I get it. I've been there, right? I've reached out when I had the courage sometimes, way back when. I reached out and it was like an essay. And I wondered why people didn't get back to me. It's because it's like pretty War and Peace, Martin. Keep it simple. Hey, Bob, I'm working on this. And you know that it's something that they're passionate about. I think I could learn something from you. You're open for a conversation. And they're going to say yes or no. But I tell you what, and people are scared of the rejection. I get it. Me too. I'm a sensitive soul. But in my experience, the people that are really worth their weight in gold, the people that really want people to succeed, the people that are sharing what they do and how to do it so that they can help others, they're not going to say no, right? Now, you might be able to have a conversation with them. It might be a one-off conversation. It might be an ongoing conversation. It might be, oh, I've got this training, or I've got this worksheet, or I've got something that can help you. And then you might even say, well, there might be other people that can help you, right? But I just want you to reach out. And the reason I give you this challenge, because it's very, very easy when we go, oh, support, who can help you? And you go, oh, yeah, this can help you. And then you leave, and then you don't take action. You don't make it happen. And then we get in our heads a little bit. We get all excited because, well, I'm passionate now. But then what happens is we then lose it and go, well, actually, yeah, it's a bit scary. I'll see if I can do it by myself. And we talk ourselves out of it. So whilst you're in this state of going, oh man, I got the honesty, I got the clarity, I got the passion, the deep, meaningful why, now I'm going to find out who is it that can help me. And sometimes that's in person. Sometimes that's on the phone. Sometimes that's on Zoom. Sometimes that's an individual, or sometimes they got something where it's a group, right? And you can talk things through. I love group conversations. So there you go. Are we all there? I can see the faces are like, yeah, I got this, Martin. You don't need to labor the point anymore. I got this. I know who it is, and I might have reached out to them, or I might not have. But that's in your call. And there's a beautiful. It links to this. It links to action. It links to the honesty. And I didn't say it earlier, but one of the things I really hold precious is a message that is in one of my favorite motivational talks by Tom Bilyeu, A Life Worth Remembering. This, he says in that, one of the great messages he says in that is maybe the most important thing is what we think about ourselves when we're by ourselves. What we think about ourselves when we're by ourselves. And for me, that hits hard, because we can put masks on, we can put hats on, we can, like, but when we're in a dark room in the corner by ourselves, we've only got ourselves and our own thoughts. We're the one that's got to live with ourselves. We've got to be the one that, are we the kind of person that makes a promise to ourselves? And that is one of my other secrets, right? Make the promise to yourself to make this happen. Because when you're by yourself, it's then, am I the kind of person that makes a promise to myself and follows through no matter what? Or am I the kind of person that makes a promise to myself, but I'll get distracted and I'll get interrupted and I won't really follow through? In terms of holding people to account, they often say, like, give it out to the world, and that holds you to account. I've got to say, in my experience, just in my experience, the most powerful promise that I've made is to myself, because I got to live with that, and I have to look at what's my identity with that. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? If I want to improve something, change something, achieve something, experience something different, then I'm the one that's got to make that happen first and foremost. Not by myself, but I got to get honest. I got to get clear. I've got to get passionate, and I got to have the right support around me in order to make it happen. And it happens by making a promise to myself, and I hold myself not to expectation, because expectation is, that can really ruin things. But I hold myself to a standard, right? And I'd love for you to hold yourself to a high standard in how you want to live your life. And even if things take a long time to figure out or work, doesn't matter. You're going to still hold yourself to the standard, the sort of person that keeps going, keeps refining, gets the right support to go quicker, and makes it happen. That makes sense? Yeah, cool. I know we've got I know Matt's had to leave. Just having a look at the comments. Just taking a breather. We good? Right? Yeah. Yes, Matt's gone now, but yes, it does. Yeah. And I imagine that was about the support. So we were talking about that. So brilliant. Stop listening to others' truth. Yeah, stop. Be careful. I would say be careful who you listen to. That's, again, the experience of when you tune into the people that are telling you not to do something, or they're giving you their blueprint of life, but it's not yours. It's not your vision. It's not your prescription. It's what I said, learned from Trent Shelton. It's like, my prescription here is my vision. But if I give them to Holly, she's going to go, what? What? I can't see a darn thing, Martin. That's because it's not your vision, right? And the same with whatever we want to work on, whatever that beautiful clarity is that you want. Nobody else has got that but you, right? You've worked on that. That's yours. So other people going, oh, I think you're bonkers. I think you're crazy. Or, I'm not sure it's going to work. Or that's going to take ages. That's not you. All this kind of stuff, it doesn't serve us. But it can really rock us, especially if we don't have support, because then we start doubting ourselves. But we just need to find, hey, it's not their blueprint, right? And that's not your blueprint. Right? You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly where you're going. You know exactly why. Look, let's get back on track. But it's so difficult when we feel isolated and alone. And I felt like that for a long time. And, you date yourself. So we don't want that, but be mindful of who you listen to. You want to surround yourself with great people who are lifting each other up, that want to take action, that want to make things better, that want to connect, that are going to celebrate your wins. And when things are going a little bit tough, to pick you up. Those are the kind of people that we want to surround ourselves with. And it's a choice. And sometimes we've got to cut people out in order to make those choices. But it's worth it, because this is your life. You get one chance at this. Well, I'm on my 7th chance of life, but most of us only get one, right? So I have a unique perspective on live it as best you can, go for it, make it happen, no matter what people say, no matter how long it'll take. Do it, because you're the one that's going to regret it if not. And I don't want that for you. Sebda did message me the other day. Jill, Marshall Goldsmith share he had an accountability call every morning. Yeah. I do know people that have that. Yeah. And the support, the accountability, the coaching, the mentoring, the masterminding, the connection, the higher the performer, I want to position this in a good way, but basically, the more somebody's achieved, right? The most successful people that are doing it for the right reasons and are making a positive impact on the world, not the other ones, right? Positive impact on the world. They embrace this at a level that would seem extreme, but there's a reason why they're there. Now, I'm not saying you have to be extreme, because you can live an extraordinary life without doing that, but you've got to learn from the principles, right? So have somebody in your corner, and I love that. And so sorry, Matt, I missed that. You need to drop off. Okay, thank you, Matt. I appreciate you being there. This is for you in the replay. So there we go. That's that. I know. Oh, we got a little bit of time. This could go two ways now. Are you a visual person? Anybody here a visual person? Because I know that this is me been talking. Visual person, right? Okay. Yeah, right. Let me. Thanks, Ollie. I'm going to do this real quick, right? And then if somebody's got any questions, whatever, then we can do that. All right, I'll bring you up. Can you see the whiteboard? Yeah, you can see the whiteboard. Jill, see the whiteboard? Sebda, see the whiteboard? Right, cool. Here's how to. I just want to bring this to life, right? So this was honesty, right? And this was about your current situations. This is not telling you anything that you don't already know, but sometimes it's nice to put it like this. Okay, so you kind of got, oh my God, what is that? So we've got that right there. That's where we started, okay? And then what we did, we went, right, I need a bit of clarity, because clarity is up here somewhere, right? Let's call that our future vision. Very, very exciting. Excellent work. I'm just going to do this. And paste, there we go. Look at that. So that's where that's what we looked at. Now, the thing is, like I said, we've got to get from here to here, right? That's the path. You might want to, you can draw this if you want. This is the path. And we don't know, often we don't know what that path is going to look like. We don't know all the steps, especially when we're starting, and we don't know how long it might take, okay? So what we absolutely need is we need our passion, right? See, the passion is what helps us when times get tough. We need it for that. And wouldn't it be lovely if we had a heart? Yeah, there you go. There's your passion. So this is what keeps us going. Now here's also what happens. We need, now he says, if he, almost as if I practiced this. Look at that. Now, he doesn't need to be an actor, because he's going to be your coach. He's going to be a mentor. He's going to be he, she, whoever it might be that's going to help you. And what we're going to do is we need to break this up, because that big long path, we don't know, do we? We don't know. We got to break it up into chunks. But if we try and figure this stuff out ourselves, oh my goody aunt, did you see that? Holy moly. This is live, people. Never work with whiteboards or children or animals, apparently. You get the point, right? So you're gonna what you need is this person here to go, what's the next step? What's the next deliberate, intentional step that you need to take? Not jump to step 10, because very often what we go, oh, we got to do this and this and this, and go, yeah, whoa. It's like step 5, right? Let's just take the first step first. And this person helps you celebrate and encourages you, because celebration isn't just at the clarity part. People get this wrong. They go, the destination, when I reach the destination, I'm going to be so happy and it's going to be amazing. And it will be. But you have got to celebrate the journey along, because otherwise you're going to just have sporadic moments of celebration in your life. But the vast majority of your life is the journey, right? We got to keep going from point to point, and we might inch forward. And sometimes, you know what, we then leap forward because we've built some momentum and we get a new opportunity, and it's wonderful. But this is kind of how I look at it. We got our honesty there. We got our clarity is the destination. The passion is what helps us keep going. But that person is really important in terms of the ladder that we're going to be climbing and the steps that we need to be taking, and to remind us of both the honesty, the clarity, but also the passion. Does that make sense? Yeah, makes sense. So for the visual learners of us, that's what we're talking about. And it, that is everything we've just talked about in the last hour and 25 minutes, right? So we've got that. This has brought us to this moment. Are we feeling, have we got passion? Have we got clarity? Have we got honesty? I know I've asked you this before, but we're now at the end. So have we got that? Has this been a worthwhile use of your time? Have we got value from this? Yeah. Do you feel like you've actually done the work? And that's the difference between knowing something and actually doing it. I encourage you to challenge you with reaching out to that person. Great. Have you got, there's a quick wrap up that I'm going to do, but is there any questions that you've got? Is there anything that you'd like to raise? You can just come off mute and talk. I don't mind. The floor is yours. Yes, Sevda? Cool.
So one thing is I was on Facebook for 4 years. So I'm going to bring this up because I thought on 4 years. And I went on Instagram, so I met that community,
Yeah.
And then I've had so many people on there in the last 24 hours. Oh my God, you're writing. I know my writing, but so now I feel, so now I feel, my real vision is I'm super creative, and my why is very deep, is very personal. Well, it's about, many people different, and then they don't fit in, and then they feel there's something wrong with them. That's my work.
Yeah.
To run creative retreats to allow people to be crazy and bright and dark. And so I'm a gothic writer, really, the really dark themes of life, probably because I've experienced quite. So I feel like now I'm just going to offer. I feel I'm going to offer bespoke writing.
Okay.
Because that is always been I feel like, oh my God, I've been in the whole. It's quite funny because I was feeling like not enough, to be honest. So not enough. It's quite funny. I thought, I met that creative community, and now everyone's got. I'm like, what the hell? And I built. The crazy thing is, I built this great big Instagram, like 4,000 or 5,000, but quite big because I haven't really been on for a year. I haven't been on there.
Beautiful. And we've talked about this. It is about surrounding yourself with the right people. It's about finding your tribe, as it were. What was what they say.
And I found that, I found a creative community.
Yeah.
I turned up once, I got 2 clients. I mean, there wasn't a big community either.
No. When we got clarity on what it is, what our gift is, what we really want to do, because this is business, right, for everybody. So when we get clear about what it is that we really want to offer and what we're most passionate about, then we can go out there and find people where they're going to be into that stuff.
Right.
And as a result of that, there might be some clients, but it also, as it did with you, then it refines what you're doing. It's like, because you then around these people and you're like, wow, well, they need this, or they love this about me. So,
and I also thought, what am I doing? Because actually, Instagram is a creative place.
Yeah.
What was they doing on Facebook? What? I'm still on Facebook, but I'm putting most of my energy into Instagram because I realized. And then I had all these amazing ideas to these creative videos with writing and gothic, and I was like, oh my god, this is the excitement I've lost. So I feel like I'm just going to do the writing. And this is, I'm here to help creatives feel like they're different. Creative doesn't have to be this in the box. And this is so like old school and like bright and dark and spooky and blood and vampires. So good.
Can you feel the passion? Can everybody sense the passion? I think Sevda's found that deep, passionate why.
Yeah, I think I lost it. Even when I spoke to you the other day, I think I had lost because I told you can't do that. Oh my God, you scare people. Oh my God, you shouldn't do it like that. You shouldn't speak like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The naysayer, we talked about it, right? And the thing is, the more we hear it, the more we're going to believe it.
You start believing it, right?
Right. And it just knocks it, and it only has to dent our confidence like 5%. But that 5% is massive, right? And then in terms of how we then show up. But you know what? There's only one of you, Sevda. There's
Right,
only
and
one of you. And you just got to find the people that resonate with you. Just be you.
I think the light bulb moment last night was like, I was sat here before this call, like thinking about the call, and the light bulb moment last night was, oh my God, when I'm not in alignment, I feel like I can't be myself. I've got to fit myself into this box. It feels like, but that isn't me.
Yeah.
And so that's what Facebook does to me. I just did something. It's always felt like.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and maybe that helps somebody else. I don't know.
We can be knocked by the communities that we're in. We talk about like dimming your glow, right?
Right.
To try and fit in, and people telling you how to fit in, and it's cobblers.
And I've actually had people say, well, I don't understand what you do. It all doesn't make any sense. I thought, well, and that can be really like.
Yeah. But like I said, that's because it's not their prescription.
Right.
It's their blueprint of the world, right?
And I
They're
feel
into
like
other things.
I've got back into alignment, and I know I'm that channel writer, and I know I'm here to write other creatives.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And you focus on that. And
yeah.
Why? You know where you're at now. You know what, because maybe that's not been working. You've got some feelings about that. You're excited about if this all pays off and I work on this and this is the focus, here's the outcome. I'm going to get excited about that and get some support to make it happen. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful example. Right. Very often we've got so many things, voices, but also things that we can do and we're not quite sure. We just got to kind of quieten the noise, focus and go for it. And see what the results are that we're going to get.
And then even on Facebook, I have a lot of people have said your writing is amazing. So like, I know about my writing, but it's like I don't feel a marketer because other people said you could help people market. I thought, I haven't been market. I don't market myself.
When people
not in marketing writing, because I think there's a difference between a creative writer,
yeah,
and a writer who's a marketer. There's a whole
it's very different. Yeah.
right.
They're still writers, but it's different.
Right.
What you've got is if you've got people going, oh, could you help me with that? You're really good at that. I like that. In marketing speak, those are buy-in signals.
Yeah,
those are true. The people that you might want to be talking to and
right.
figuring stuff out, right?
Right.
And see where that goes. And we've talked about building relationships, but relationships don't need to take 6 months to build. If somebody resonates with you very quickly, it's like, right, okay, let's have a conversation. Just like I encourage, don't overcomplicate it, So I'm really proud of you. Really, really proud of you. I'm glad that this has helped as well.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Anybody else got any questions or queries? No? You guys are on it. You're on it. I've got one I'm going to thank you. Great value. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you.
Any words you can supply would be much appreciated. Thank you. If you've got value from this, let me know. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing the work. I really appreciate you. I've got one last thing that I wanted to share. Okay. I'm going to do it really quickly because we are now at the end. I'm going to do this every month. So 90 minutes every month. Pick a framework, pick a model, pick a high performance or personal development strategy. run through it and do the work exactly how we have just done it, right? And depending on what it is, there's sometimes more conversation and discussion and questions and answers. But you've just experienced, you know, I was hoping this was going to go well. And if it did go well, I wanted to share that I'm going to do it every month in the same format to help you get out of the river of life, work on your life, and then go and apply it to your life. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to set up a private community for people who want to do that, because it's next level. And it's not like the Extraordinary Life family where there's going to be lots of content coming in. This is about connection, partnership, collaboration, supporting people, a place where we can put the replays and we can continue the conversation on those masterclasses, because things are going to come up. As you now take action, things are going to come up. So I wanted to create a place that is off of social media. So it's my own private community where we can then connect in between times. So I'm going to do that. And you guys are here, founding members. And I wanted to keep this really, really reasonable. So I'm just saying £49 a month, which
I'm in.
I have to do the conversion, but it's not far off $49. But £49 a month for that, to do a mastermind, 90 minutes every month, have the community and have the support. And we can also mix it up. We can get guest speakers in, and I know that some of you are extremely good with some frameworks and you've got great knowledge. And one of the things about a mastermind is collective wisdom. So we can bring other people in to share. We can also do review sessions, and we can also do round tables. If there's a topic or a theme that a lot of people are thinking, right, we need some support on this, we can literally go, right, let's have, and this is my favorite mastermind, where we literally have a round table and go, this is the topic, let's talk it through, let's share and get the collective wisdom in the room to say what's working, what's not working, what they tried, what haven't they tried, and help each other. And so that's why I wanted to create a space every month where we're taking that immersion to the next level to do that. And I am cordially inviting you to that. It would be an absolute privilege and a pleasure to serve you and to do that. So I'm going to send you a link with that. No fancy sales page. It's just going to be, hey, and what we're calling it is the success circle. Okay, so it is about your success, and it is about working as a circle. And obviously we will expand that and invite new people and do sessions like this to encourage people to come in. So if you're interested in that, I know Sevda said she's in, then it would be a privilege and a pleasure. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for giving that some consideration. I haven't left anything out, just so you know, right? So this isn't one of those, oh, and if you come into this, then I'll tell you what really works. No, this is this is the mastermind. For the 4 steps, this is the mastermind. Other things are other things. So I hope you've got that value, and I wanted to give that to you today to get started and have that support. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to let you get on with the rest of your day, and thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was amazing.
It was.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet everyone.
Yeah,
and you.
you.
Thanks.